Well, our homeschool year is done, and that means that it's time to share one more update on our read alouds. What did we like, what didn't we like, and which books did we read? If you followed me on this channel, you know that read alouds are a big part of our homeschool, that we enjoy doing them, and that all of my children, from my 7-year-old all the way up to my 16-year-old, we do read alouds together. So I wanted to share with you the last few that we did this homeschool year. I've got my little pile here and my list, so hopefully I don't forget anything. So the first one we did was The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. I'll give you a quick look inside. This book was not what I expected at all. I thought it was going to be more about like a boy and the swan and a real swan, I guess, and it's nothing like that. It's totally this bizarre, like the swan learns to write and he has a trumpet and he makes deals with money, and like totally not what I was expecting. Therefore, it was not my favorite book. I kind of was bored by it. Not bored, but it didn't entertain me. I didn't see much point to it. Some of my younger kids did like it. They thought it was silly and like just far-fetched, and they liked it. So in the end, I ended up giving it 3 stars. It's supposed to be like a classic. I don't get it. I don't know. And I feel like this has kind of been a theme for our read alouds this year, that there's been quite a few more on like the negative side than ones that were great. Let me know. Do you like this book? What am I missing? I don't know. So then we moved on to this one here, The Magic School Bus, The Truth About Bats. I love these books. We've had these books for a number of years. If you have not seen them, they're just fantastic because they're chapter books for young kids, but I've read most of them out loud to the kids as well. They are just packed full with information, but it's true information, and it's a lot of information, but kids don't find it overwhelming, and they find it exciting and interesting, and like the pictures in here are always good, and they have little, like people have written little reports and stuff. So this one was a winner, as always. These always are. If you have young kids, these are the kind of books where your kids will learn so much on their own just by reading. We have the whole series. I love them. So this one got an automatic 5 from us, of course. Okay. Then, oh, and I should say that this went along with our science. Both these books, we were doing birds. So, well, flying creatures. That's why we had bats too. So that went along with science. And then we did this book here, Beware Princess Elizabeth by Carolyn, I think it's Meyer, is how you say that, Meyer. And this went along with our History, Story of the World, Volume 2 that we did. This book, so I'd read reviews of this and I kind of felt like, I don't know if I want to read this to my kids, but I ended up really liking it. I think sometimes when there's parts of history that we hear about and we know a little bit about, but we don't fully understand, sometimes books can really help to clear that up. And that was my experience with this book, is that the whole thing about Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth, and what went on between them and what was the circumstances, and as well as Queen Jane in the middle there, right? It just helped clear all that up for me, and it made it so that history was, I keep saying the word clear. It was more, what's the word? I could comprehend the circumstances and the order of events better. Hopefully that makes sense. So some of my kids liked it, some of them didn't. Most of them gave it like 3 or 4 stars. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. I think it could have been a little bit better to make it a great book, but definitely it's one I would recommend reading with Story of the World. Now I went on after this to watch a series on Amazon Prime. Oh, I should have looked up the name, but it was about Queen Jane, and it was I don't remember how many videos where they went through each day of her reign and what led up to it and what was going on with Mary and Elizabeth at the same time. and it was phenomenal. I'll try and put a picture in here if you want to see what like it looks like, what it's called. It would have been great for the kids. They weren't super interested, so I just watched it myself, but it went along great with this book and along with our history, and it's definitely kid friendly, so that was a good book. Then in our Story of the World, we were learning about Shakespeare, and I'm not a big Shakespeare fan. I know, I feel like all these classic books and all these things kids have to know, some of them I don't get. So we have the, who is it by? I think it's Usborne. Oh, it says Parfait Press. I don't know. Are these books here? And we have the whole set, but these are the ones that we read. And they are just a very simplified version of Shakespeare's plays. And the reason I chose to do this was because I didn't feel like we could go in depth into a play with the time that we had, and some of the younger kids they wouldn't get it. But these are so simple. They have very simple writing. There's some black and white sketches, and it just really simplifies. But I also like in the front, they always have the cast list. So you can go back and refer to it and you can look at it. And it's just a good way to introduce Shakespeare without it being too overwhelming. So we did Henry V, and then we did A Midsummer Night's Dream, and they're all the same inside. They all look the same. And then we did Richard III. And I chose these ones because these two went along with our history, like different things we'd learned about. And then A Midsummer Night's Dream was just a funny one. And I had originally planned to do, one of the other ones, I can't remember now, another like comedy. But I think I was sick at that time, so we decided not to. But there's, actually it's probably on here. No, it's not showing up. But there's like all the different books that they have. They have tons of them. There's a whole series. So this is yeah, I can't remember what the other one was. I think it was 12th Night. Anyways, so we read those. That's a good way to introduce in a very gentle, just to get an idea, like when someone mentions Richard III, the play, you know what they're talking about. Okay, and then, just check my list here. We did our last one, which we did an Audible book. I have the book though, and that's Heidi by Johanna Spyra, I think is how you say her name. I have had this book on my shelf for a couple years. I don't think I heard about this book as a child. Sorry for my roosters, you guys, always. And I kind of wasn't too interested in it. Like if you read the back of it, it's like, okay, sounds interesting. And then I thought, you know what, I really want to do more classic books. I've been trying to add in more classic books, and I thought this would be a good one. I watched the video from The Good and the Beautiful that they put out of Jenny Phillips saying some of her favorite children's books, and she recommended this one as great for summer, and so I thought, oh, this is the perfect time. And so we listened to it. It was a little bit, it was longer than I expected and kind of took a while to get going, I feel like, but I get what people like about it. It is totally about just the goodness and purity and freedom of childhood, and yeah, I get what people like about it. My kids, again, mixed reactions. We ended up giving it, I think, 4 stars. There were some parts that were really funny, some that were sweet, some that were a little bit harder to understand with the language. And then actually, once we read the book, we actually watched the movie, and I'll put up here again which version we watched. I was trying to figure out which version to show my kids, and so I went through some of them, and some of them are so different than the book. Like with a monkey, there's no monkey in the book. So I tried to find one that was as true to the book as possible, and it was really good. So yeah, I would recommend the book for sure. And yeah, I understand why it's a good one for like spring and summer, and get outside and be a child and play, and yeah, that was a good recommendation. So that was a winning book for us to end our year on. So then I wanted to share some of the books that my kids have liked. So this is from my 7-year-old. We got some new books from The Good and the Beautiful, so I think they are all from The Good and the Beautiful. So this is a Joey from Down Under. I bought this book to go along with part of our science for next year. It's a 2A, but they've already read it. And thankfully he really likes it. So it's one of those books that is entertaining and has a story, but it has a lot of true facts about, in this case, Joey and his mom, kangaroos and koalas. So that one he really liked. And then this one was another one. He said it's really good. It's Little Glass Lake, Ducks. This one's by Jenny Phillips. This is book 1 and it's a 2B. This is the one that was given free as part of the summer reading program. And my son absolutely loved it. He was like, can you buy the next parts? So you can see what that looks like. And then my daughter, who is 10, she is a huge panda fan. So she begged me to get her this book, even though it's way below her reading level. It's a 2A. She just loves pandas. And so she's like, please buy me this book. And of course, when it came, she absolutely loved it. Again, it's that same series where it gives some actual facts, but it's also entertaining and a cute story. And then Lantern Lane, book 1 by Tessa Green. This is a level 6. I'm trying to think, I don't think this was the free one. No, I don't think so. This is one that we bought. She said it was really good. I don't know much about this one, so she recommended that one. And then finally, she has read this story so many times, but The Good and the Beautiful just came out with it in actual book form last year maybe, and that's The Kingdom of Kind. I've read this story how many times now? I've read it 4 times and it is a really good story. I'm excited to have it in an actual book with pictures this time for my son who'll be doing it next year. And it actually has in here like which part the student reads and which part the parent reads, which is going to be interesting. It looks like there's a review in there, but such a good story. Highly recommend this one as well as my daughter who loves it. Okay, then there's me. I wanted to share 2 books that I listen to because I tend to listen to most of my books. The first one is Where Children Run, and this is about the Peshke twins who grew up in Manitoba. It is a true story. It's based on their experience with their stepfather and abuse and neglect and so many heartbreaking things, but it's their story and it's so fascinating and compelling and horrible. But it also, I think it's an important story for people to hear, to know what to look for when there's child abuse, not to be silent in the community, and to stand up for these children. They talk about the people who've really saved their lives, literally, and what a difference it made in their lives. So that was a great one. That was 5 stars for me. Hard to listen to, very detailed, but definitely worthwhile listening to. And the other one is one that I think people either love or they hate, given by the reviews, and I loved it. And that's The Time Traveler's Wife. I had heard of this like in a movie, but I had never seen it. And I started listening to it, and there is adult themes in it and there's adult content in some of it. But it's one of those books I couldn't put it down. Like, I was listening to it, so I just wanted to listen to more and more because I really, really enjoyed it. It's science fiction, but it's not like what I would consider extreme science fiction. Like, it's not totally created, I guess. There's reality in it. I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed it. And then after I read it, I actually went and watched the movie, and the movie's quite different. So if you've seen the movie, go read the book. You'll like it so much better. So yeah, those are the books that I have here that I wanted to share with you. Both are read alouds and some that I and the kids recommended. My older kids, they didn't have anything they wanted to recommend right now. That's just the case. Anyways, let me know if you've read any of these books down below and what you thought of them or what you're reading right now, because I love to get suggestions. And otherwise, I just hope this finds you having a great day. Take care.